She suspiciously paid for everything in cash for years. Then people realized why. Anna Delvey lived a glamorous life. She rubbed shoulders with some of the most important people in the world. Although nobody really knew who she was, many assumed, as she had told them, that she was a millionaire German heiress who went from city to city spending money freely as she pleased. She cheated everyone and lived like a queen while doing it. Read on to discover the amazing life of Anna Delvey, the woman of the millionaire world who didn't have a penny to her name. Anna Delvey was a woman who everyone in New York's socialite scene used to know. If one were to ask where she came from, it's unlikely that anyone would get the same answer twice. She appeared in the Soho socialite scene and cunningly placed herself in all the places people wanted to be. Just from looking at Anna, you could tell that she came from money. That was also reflected in the way she acted. She acted like she could do whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. That was among one of the reasons why no one realized what she was really up to for years. Anna Delvey didn't have a permanent address. She simply flitted from hotel to hotel, occasionally leaving the country to restart her tourist visa. When Anna moved into a new boutique Soho hotel at 11 Howard Street, she quickly gained a reputation. According to the people who knew her, she was always in the right place at the right time. She also knew all the right people, which is why the Soho Hotel hadn't even asked for a credit card. Those people were helping her reach an ambitious goal, but they would ultimately lead to her downfall as well. Anna Delvey lived the life of a celebrity, handing out $100 tips like it was nothing and always wearing high-end designer clothing. She quickly made friends with the concierge at 11 Howard, a young woman named Nefertari Davis, known as Neff for short. Neff was intrigued from the moment Anna Delvey walked into the hotel. She was staying for a month, an unusually long time. It was something that only wealthy celebrities did. Each time she came down to the concierge desk, there was a $100 bill waiting for Neff. To Neff Davis, Anna Delvey seemed to fit the perfect profile of a Soho socialite and someone she should get as close as possible to. Neff was a budding cinematographer, and Anna's connections could only help further her career. Anna would come down to the desk to ask for recommendations on places to eat or places to go, but it quickly became apparent that Anna already knew the best places to go. She even knew the owners, bartenders, and waiters, so why was she getting so close to Neff? It quickly dawned on Neff that Anna Delvey wasn't a guest that needed her information, but rather wanted her time. She wanted a friend at the hotel, and that's exactly what she got. As Anna and Neff grew closer, so did the danger. You just sit there and listen because that's your concierge life, Neff later recalled. The interactions were foreign to her, but it was the first time that she stayed friends with a guest outside of work hours. Pretty soon they were going out to restaurants and clubs together. Anna Delvey quickly gained a reputation as being one of the most generous guests at the 11 Howard Hotel by giving $100 tips. People would fight to take her packages upstairs, said Neff, fighting because you knew you were getting $100. Anna Delvey knew that money spoke louder than words, and she was never short of her $100 bills. She paid for everything in cash and exclusively $100 bills. No one knew where her money came from, nor did they ask. She gave to everyone, said Neff. Uber drivers, $100 cash. Meals, listen. You know how you reach for your credit card? She wouldn't let me. Anna Delvey even got a personal trainer/life coach for the small price of $4,500, just a small price to pay, at least for Anna. With all the money Anna threw around, it was obvious that she was very wealthy, and from her European accent, it was assumed that she was the daughter of a wealthy European family and going to inherit millions. Anna seemed like a princess who was just taking vacation away from her castle. Apart from befriending Neff Davis, Anna Delvey took on the task of organizing and hosting large dinners at Le Coucou, a nearby expensive French restaurant, for herself and her associates. The events were amazingly star-studded. In attendance were CEOs, artists, athletes, and even celebrities. Anna's new gal pal Neff was, of course, invited to attend the dinners. One night she even found herself seated next to Macaulay Culkin, an experience she described as awkward. I had so many questions and he was right there, but they were talking about friend stuff, so I never got the chance to be like, so you're the godfather to Michael Jackson's kids? Anna Delvey had a secret power of persuasion over other people. She knew people and how to get in good with them. On the outside, she looked like a typical girl, in many ways unremarkable, but she had a way with people. One man who met Anna at Paris Fashion Week described her as a sweet and polite girl who simply introduced herself, and then all of a sudden she was hanging out with his friends and making conversation. That was Anna's main asset. She was a people person. According to those who knew Anna, she managed to be in all the sort of right places. She showed up to a Berlin party on a private jet wearing the fanciest of clothes. No one knew where her wealth came from, though. There are so many trust fund kids running around, said a marketing director named Saleh, who knew Anna. Everyone is your best friend and you don't know a thing about anyone. But as people would soon find out, Anna was one person you didn't want to know. Anna met Michael Zhufu Huang, a highly successful art collector and museum founder, at an art show, and the two immediately bonded. So much so that they decided to take a trip to Italy to celebrate the Venice Biennale together. Anna asked Michael to put the flight and hotel on his credit card, something that he found a little weird. She, of course, promised to pay him back. Michael didn't think much of it at the time, considering that it wasn't a lot of money for him, but would she ever pay him back? While in Italy, Michael thought it was odd that Anna Delvey paid for everything in cash. It was odd, but still not a red flag that something was amiss. Then the trip came to an end, and when it came to pay Michael back, she seemingly forgot all about the money. This, however, was nothing new to Michael. He was familiar with the super rich, and when you're super rich, you can afford to be forgetful of seemingly minor details. After some time, Michael forgot too. For Anna's birthday, she decided to go all out and throw herself a party to remember. She hired a PR firm to organize everything and make sure loads of successful people showed up. She also invited Michael, her super rich friend. The party was a success and everything seemingly went well, until afterward. Michael received a message a few days after the party asking for Anna Delvey's contact information because she didn't pay her bill. And that's when Michael realized Anna isn't who she appeared to be. Just who was Anna Delvey, and where did she come from? People began to wonder. No one was quite sure, and everyone who knew her had a different story about where they thought she came from and where her wealth came from. One friend stated that Anna Delvey's father was a diplomat to Russia and that she had family money. Another friend was told that her father was an oil industry titan. But just who was the real Anna Delvey and what was she up to? Another friend was certain that her family was big into antiques in Germany, and that's where her wealth came from. But unfortunately, all of the theories were wrong. Anna Delvey, if that really was her real name, would surprise everyone in the end. The speculations didn't bother Anna. In fact, it was the opposite. The more people wondered who and where she came from, the more intrigue there was surrounding her, and she wasn't about to let anyone get in the way of fulfilling her ultimate goal. Anna Delvey's goal was to establish an exclusive club featuring art called the Anna Delvey Foundation, or ADF for short. She even hired a creative director, London-based Mark Kremers, to help with the branding of her new venture. After scouting spots for the new club, she eventually found the perfect location. Anna decided that she would take on the redevelopment of a location at 281 Park Avenue South. The only catch? She would need to take out millions of dollars in loans. So, through her connections, she found someone willing to help her. Anna's financial partner, who was helping her to purchase the location, wrote in an email that she needed the loan because her personal assets, which are quite substantial, are located outside the U.S., some of them in a trust with UBS outside the U.S. Anna Delvey promised that she had the resources necessary to pay the money. She also promised not to embarrass the firm in any way, promises that she wouldn't exactly be able to keep. She continued trying to purchase the location. As financial concerns grew, Anna Delvey started fundraising and invited wealthier guests to her dinner events. One of the guests she got close to was notorious pharma bro Martin Shkreli, the man who came under fire when his company raised the price of a critical medication from $13 to $750. He was later convicted of securities fraud and is currently serving prison time. Anna did something to be a popular woman about town, who knew everyone, Shkreli wrote. Even though I was nationally known, I felt like a computer geek next to her. Anna also picked up a few tricks from Shkreli, tricks that she would later use for revenge. Anna was very serious about the opening of her supposed foundation. She was always on the phone with lawyers, said Neff, who would overhear the conversations at the hotel. They were always toning her down, like, Anna, you're trying to make something that's worth this much be worth that much, and that's just not how it works. Then one night, Anna asked Neff out to dinner, and when it came time to pay the bill, it was clear that she was having cash issues. She even tried to pay with around 12 credit cards. All of them were declined. That's when things started to unravel for Anna Delvey. Not only was Anna Delvey having cash flow issues,